What's good? This is Marcus Fingaz, Dafingaz, and I am a music producer and composer diving in on sync licensing and trailer music. This is day 9 of this Syncrets To Success podcast. I am aiming to do 30 days of sharing sync licensing and trailer music gems with the sync licensing world. So on day 9, we're going to explore the dynamic world of music licensing libraries and how they offer valuable benefits to composers like us in the sync licensing industry. Music licensing or sync libraries play a crucial role in connecting composers with potential sync opportunities. These libraries serve as the intermediaries between us, the composers, and music supervisors, production companies, and agencies looking for the perfect soundtracks for their projects. And I do use the word composers to be all-encompassing, meaning producers, beatmakers, singers, songwriters, rappers, things like that. So how do we submit our music to these libraries and understand their submission process? That is essential to research. You have to research, find reputable libraries that align with your style and goals. And once you've identified potential libraries, carefully follow their submission guidelines, which often involve providing detailed metadata, track descriptions, high quality audio files, collaborations, things like that. Who collaborated, who wrote on it. Some libraries want you to have a split sheet or a one-stop sheet if it's a collaboration, which we'll talk about in a future episode. But finding libraries is pretty easy. You just go to Google, type in sync libraries. You'll probably get lists of hundreds of libraries. That's when the research starts. Once you get these lists, you can also follow people, type in sync licensing, hashtag sync licensing on social media, start going through posts, seeing what gems people are sharing. Once you start finding these libraries, research their Instagram, look at their website, see what placements they've gotten, and then see if the shows they're working on is the music that you create. The music that they're placing is the music you create. Then go to their website. A lot of times these companies have on their website where it says submit music or join our team or composers, click here, submit here, things like that. You want to find something like that on their page, and they might have guidelines that say, submit a link here, submit, 3 songs, MP3 file, whatever. They'll tell you exactly how to submit. Every library has a different submission process. And in some cases, some libraries aren't accepting submissions. It is what it is. Some, they have a full catalog right now. They don't have time to sort of ingest or consider new composers or new artists or things like that. So it is what it is in the industry. Some libraries just need a break to keep up with the catalog they already have. So let's explore the benefits of working with both exclusive and non-exclusive libraries. As we mentioned on day 8, I believe, exclusive libraries often offer higher sync fees and provide composers with a more personalized approach to promotion. On the other hand, non-exclusive libraries can help us maximize exposure by allowing us to license our music with multiple partners simultaneously. I do tend to get more placements on the exclusive side, but that doesn't mean that you'll have a better opportunity on the exclusive side. There are great opportunities on both ends, but personally, I work more with exclusive libraries and I get more placements on that end. So building and maintaining relationships with library representatives is key to success. Take the time to communicate professionally and engage in discussions about your music and their clients' needs. Nurture these relationships, as library representatives can become valuable advocates for your music in the sync licensing world. One thing that's really key is every library I work with, at least most of them, I've either had a meeting with them personally, like the owner or representative of the library, or I started working with them because I'm collaborating with someone who already is on their roster, which is a whole different. We'll talk about that another day. But if I have a meeting with them in person or on Zoom, it's great to have that face-to-face, because now when they see the music, they'll be like, oh, that's the guy that I had to Zoom with, or we went out to eat. Especially when you travel, if you go to conferences and things, most conferences are in California. Most sync libraries and trailer libraries are in California. So if I happen to be in California at an event or at a conference, I don't live in California, but if I happen to be there, it's like, okay, let me hit up the libraries I'm working with to see if any of them are available for lunch or grab coffee or grab, dinner or whatever the case is. That way you just have that one-on-one. It doesn't even have to be about sync or music. It just be like, hey, how you guys been? What's going on in the world or whatever. I went to NAMM, hosted a panel, I put together a panel on sync licensing at NAMM 2023. And while I was out in California, of course, having different meetings and linking up with different people. And I had one meeting with a library that I worked with. And at the time, I think I haven't even done, I might have done a couple albums for them, but had a dinner with them. They're like, hey, can you meet us for dinner? About an hour away from where I was staying. I was like, yeah, sure. It was me and another guy who worked with them, who I've been working with also. we had dinner with them, and during that dinner they were telling us about opportunities that were coming up that we could pitch to. And in one case they asked me specifically for music that I can pitch to them, and they're not going to open it up to their roster. So there are great things that can come from just having that one-on-one face meeting with them. They'll be like, hey, if you're interested, we can give this to you and only to you, and it could be a very lucrative opportunity for you. So there are things where you have those relationships with your libraries, your sync agents, your music supervisors. You build that rapport with them that can lead to opportunities. As composers, working with music licensing libraries can be a powerful ally in our sync licensing journey. They help amplify our presence. They streamline licensing processes and connect us with industry professionals who seek the perfect melodies to enhance their visual creations. And one thing that I want to add here is the difference between working with music supervisors and music libraries. There are pros and cons of both. Working with music supervisors, some pros are you have direct access to the projects they are working on. Most music supervisors are working on 3 or 4 projects at once. You have direct access to them. It's the quickest way to get a placement on projects they are working on. If you can build that connection with a music supervisor directly, I would always suggest doing that. There are ways to do that. We'll talk about that in a future episode as well. That can be joining Zoom meetings, meeting them in person, finding them on LinkedIn, connecting with them, sharing your music with them, and you never know. The problem is they are working on a limited number of projects. So they have usually 9. I know some supervisors that are maybe up to 12 projects at a time, but that is their capacity. They might not be able to have time to talk to you directly. They're so busy working on those projects. With sync libraries a lot of times have access to hundreds of music supervisors, editors, production companies, things like that. So you send your music to a key library, they can send your music out. I work with one library that sends a blast out to 250 different emails every 2 months of the latest music. So you work with one library, you can potentially have your music sent to hundreds of music supervisors, and and then multiply that by how many projects these music supervisors are working on, and it just so happens your music comes across their desk at the right time. You just never know. So there are great ways, pros and cons of both. Again, some cons of working with libraries is they might have a large roster, they might not have time to individualize things for you, and then they are working with other artists as well. But if you become that top player, that key player on their roster, that could be very beneficial. So pros and cons of working with libraries and music supervisors. I do suggest working with both as much as you can, and then eventually you might get to the point in your sync licensing career where you can focus mainly on music supervisors and pitching directly to projects. That is day 9 of Syncrets to Success, your guide to sync licensing, music licensing, music mastering, music licensing. Tomorrow we'll dive in more on day 10 on sync licensing. This has been Marcus to Fingaz. Join the Syncrets to Success Facebook group. I will include a link in the description, and I will see you in the group as well. And we will see you on day 10. All right. Peace.